Hello. I thought I'd do this little short thing about some of the weathering techniques. But the first thing, even though I'm kind of jumping the gun here, I was going to show you how I do blast marks. I use this little cone-shaped bit, but sometimes I use these little round ball-shaped type bits too. And then what I do is I just sort of take it and I kiss the surface. Then those are going to be blast marks. So say for here, for instance, let's go somewhere else. Say here, looks like a good place to put a blast mark. And I just sort of dig into it a little bit. The effect is pretty good once you put a little black paint on it. And you can't really see it too well in this light. Try to get it light. Yeah, now you can see it a little better. Maybe not. Oh well. So, anyways, it's a good place. And it shows you there, and I'll paint it black once I'm done doing it. I just kind of go in random places. A lot of times I go in places if the resin or the part doesn't look really good or something. It might be a bubble or something. I'll hit it with that. Looks like it got blasted. So, anyways, that's phase 2. I've already done a thing on phase 1 in terms of watches on the starter story. You can look at that to see how that works. Here's the top anyways, and I kind of already started putting spots for blast marks, as you can see here and there. They'll be painted black, of course, and then I'll use pastels and make them look like blast spots. That's pretty crappy there. I have to fix that. But a little test, blast marks here. Don't care much for them. If you don't really like the way they look, you can always take a little real fine steel wool and kind of lightly sand them off and start again. So that's it so far. And here I am again to show more paint techniques, wearing a different blue shirt, not as ugly as the last blue shirt. So we'll talk about pastels. That's what I like to use to make blast marks and stuff like that instead of trying to use an airbrush. I can never get a good enough streak with an airbrush, unless I want to pay $1,000 for an airbrush, which I don't. So anyways, what I use is these three things I use. I try using these different powders now that they sell. They're actually pastel powders in a bottle, which is kind of nice. Like this is a red I use for a rusty, and this is like a dirt color, African dust, for instance. But the way I do the black, because I haven't found any black, is I still use one of these charcoal pastels, put it here on the table, and just scrape a little bit off like that. And I take a little brush. And it should be kind of a small, cheap, very stiff little brush. And then I just come over here, and then I just drag it across. Now you'll see a lot of what I call pastel grain, but blow it out of the way, and then you can see beyond that, and you can see that it's actually starting to show like streaks and stuff. And you can use this for more than just doing blast marks. I use it for doing, like water. Excuse me, sorry, can't multitask. For doing like water lines and stuff, for instance, on the bottom, you can see all the streaking on the bottom here, and here and everything. That's just using pastels, and I use the rust colors and the blacks. So to get that effect. And even to do panels, like say you want to make one panel a little different than the other, you can use this here and darken that little area, and there you go. Especially if you got like these axis that looks like access doors, you can do those a little bit, make them come out a little bit. Or like let's say, because streaking, I mean, ships go a certain direction, so you might want to have streaking coming off it, going in one direction like that, or any plates, just sort of, you can go as more or less as you want. If I put too much on, what I do is I actually take steel wool. Here's a little place, best place to show some streaking, which is good. And I'll use a little rust on there as well. And see, just get yourself a little streak mark. It's real simple, real quick, easy to control. Is what I like about it. You can make these blast marks as big as you want or as small as you want. And if you don't like the way they look, I use a real fine steel wool that you can buy at any supermarket. Just like the stuff here, just again, cheap stuff. Not supermarket, I take that back. Home Depot. Yeah, they have the real fine stuff. And you can kind of get rid of the, if it looks a little too much, you can just take the steel wool without hurting the paint too much. But Yeah, that's just one method of doing weathering. You can also use it for highlighting lines and stuff on the hulls. So it's a good trick, other than trying to airbrush everything. So that's it for now, and catch up with you later on whatever else I decide to show a technique on. This thing's almost done, and so are all these videos. I don't know how many that is now. I think it's over 18 or 19 of them. So, yeah. All right. Until next time again. Bye bye.